in the world of conspiracy theories, you also yourself don't believe that Mr. Epstein killed himself.
That's not in the world of conspiracy theories. I base my belief on two factors.
David Schoen is a civil rights and criminal defense lawyer. He was approached by Epstein in 2019, just 9 days before his death, to take over the defense. He had advised Epstein prior to that. And in 2021, he was also asked by President Trump to lead his second impeachment defense. Let's speak to him. David Schoen, what a pleasure to welcome you to Newsnight.
Pleasure's mine. Thanks very much.
This looks very cack-handed by the White House, the way they're handling this scandal. How does it look to you?
Well, I think some mistakes have been made. I think now, though, a lot of the furor around it is being fueled by both sides. You have conspiracy theorists on the right with Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene and that crowd, and on the left, the media and some of the media and the Democrats love to stir up more and more chaos and dissension, and so that makes it not go away quickly. I'm not sure what they're after at the end of the day that would satisfy either side.
Have you seen the documents, and is Donald Trump's name blinking there like a lighthouse?
Well, thousands of documents have been released over the years. There have been books written about it and so on. It's no secret that President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein had a friendship decades ago. But President Trump, unlike many of the other wealthy and famous people, cut off his friendship quite abruptly and had no contact further with Jeffrey Epstein for decades. So it's not surprising that his name comes up. And that's part of the danger with the release of documents. Names come up and people assume must be some nefarious or illegal activity, when in fact he just had a lot of wealthy and powerful friends who enjoyed his company.
Yes, so some people will be named in papers linked to your former client who did nothing wrong, but their name will be in a piece of paper. But just on the president's behaviour right now, in the past couple of years, he said, we've got to release this stuff, the client list. And now that he's in office, he's not released the papers. Do you think that is a footfall? Is that an error by President Trump?
Here's what I think happened. First of all, there is no client list, and that's part of the myth surrounding this. If someone were to think that there's actually a list which Jeffrey Epstein wrote down the name of, you fill in the name of the famous wealthy person with some young girl, that just doesn't exist. And if there were such a thing, you can be sure the accuser would have sued that person, because they've sued plenty of people and lawyers have made a lot of money off of it. But I think what happened is President Trump said he's open to the idea, and it should be disclosed if there's any such kind of file that hasn't been disclosed so far. But he didn't know what was in it. I think that maybe some of the others, the Attorney General, Director of the FBI, and so on, jumped the gun a bit. They were in favor, for good reasons, of disclosing and full transparency, but they didn't know what they had yet. When they saw what they had, there was no smoking gun, and therefore they said there's nothing further to release of any substance. And now you see, sort of catch up with this interview you mentioned by the Deputy Attorney General. Now Congress has subpoenaed Ms. Maxwell for a deposition.
Yes, and so it really is growing. What's happened is they've managed to grow the story rather than shut it down.
Yeah, and again, I think there are many forces at play fueling that. I don't think there's anything that will satisfy Tucker Carlson crowd on the right. They're conspiracy theorists, and facts aren't any obstacle to conspiracy theorists. So even if you had a smoking gun, they would say there must be more. And on the left, from their perspective, why shouldn't they blow it up? They have midterm elections coming next year. They want to make this as much of an issue and paralyze the Trump administration to the fullest extent possible, so that the attention is taken off of his accomplishments and initiatives and onto this.
But we worry, watching your country, that it's become a fact-free zone. We've gone into a post-truth age. And in the world of conspiracy theories, I believe, David, you also yourself don't believe that Mr. Epstein killed himself.
I would like to think, though, that that's not in the world of conspiracy theories. I don't have a conspiracy theory as to how he died. I base my belief, and I can't prove it, on two factors. One, anecdotally, I met with him 9 days before he was dead. The entire meeting was based on a plan going forward. hiring me taking an apartment in New York, paying me to have an active, forceful defense on all grounds of his case. That went on for the next week with all of the people who met with him, including the day before he was planning his strategy. But more importantly, the highly regarded forensic pathologist in the States, Michael Baden, examined him with the city medical examiner. During that examination, the city medical examiner couldn't come to any conclusion, then 4 days later said suicide without further information. Michael Baden conducted tens of thousands of autopsies and says he doesn't believe it was suicide. He's never seen injuries like this consistent with a suicide. But I don't have a conspiracy theory as to who killed him.